welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Lady Nakazawa here, and today we're going to be getting into some VTuber Newsy news. But before we do, please make sure to smash subscribe, hit the like, ring the bell. And guys, do you know that I stream on Twitch? Head on over to Twitch, and if you're at work, leave me a lurk. Okay guys, on to our very first piece of Newsy news. This is Gawr Gura, and Gawr Gura was a female English-speaking virtual YouTuber associated with Hololive, debuting in 2020 as part of Hololive English's first generation myth. In May 2025, she graduated from Hololive. Before Gawr Gura was Gawr Gura was Senzawa, who was an independent English-speaking VTuber. So Senzawa became Gawr Gura, and Gawr Gura left Hololive and has become Sameco Saba. So it looks like we have finally some news. Sameco Saba is going to be debuting on June 28th. This is a trailer that was posted on her X as of June 22nd. So let's take a look at the trailer. Oh. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Ooh. That looks pretty incredible. You can see like so many beautiful visuals here. There's definitely like a sea vibe going on here, and even like here, like the cabin covered in cobwebs, like, ooh, so spooky, so amazing. Anyways, obviously people are super stoked about this. You can see here, there's Nimi Nightmare saying, Saba forever. Doob says, epic alert. Lumi says, cute, cute baby. Rima says, so soon, we eatin' good. So let's see what some of the good people on Reddit gotta say. Yakiku says, catfish confirms. Timna says, cat ears, that's unexpected. But she did seem to like the previous cat shark outfit she had as Gura. I'm very curious about the full design now. It makes sense that she still has tiny pigtail on the side. As she mentioned, she liked that detail on Gura before. And the little accessory that looks like a paper sailor hat is absolutely adorable and helps create a distinct silhouette. But it makes me wonder if I'll think the design is too complicated with too many things going on. Either way, I'm really excited to see the full thing. X1 Beta says you can see the blue eyes in some of the frames. So if you see here, if you zoom in really, really tight, you can probably see like a little bit of a turquoise blue here. You can see here people are pretty excited about this. So this was some art that may or may not be the actual art. So this is obviously speculation at this point until the debut actually happens. So this is posted on the handle Sharkbite Tail says, I'm so excited. Guess what Saba looks like. So this is unconfirmed at this point if this is what Saba is going to look like, but still some pretty cute art regardless. This is Nimi reacting to Saba's upcoming debut, and this is posted on the Hollow Simper channel. Let's take a look.
Oh my gosh, Saba debut on June 28th. I'm so excited. Saba, 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 Saba. I'm gonna be watching. You know I'll be there. Saba forever. My queen, my queen. Yes, I'm happy. I'm excited.
Guys, you can see here, everyone is super stoked, so make sure to mark that on your calendar for June 28th. Sameco Saba will be debuting, so guys, it's definitely something that's going to be absolutely huge in the VTuber sphere, so please make sure to go check that out when it happens. Okay guys, on to our next piece of Newsy news. This is Twisty Amanozako, and Twisty was an English-speaking virtual YouTuber affiliated with Nijisanji EN, debuting as part of the unit Dunoth. So the key word in here was. Why was? Well, guys, the writing was on the wall and we all figured that this was going to happen, but here is the official post. This is posted on a Nijisanji EN official X account saying, announcement regarding Twisty Amazoko's contract termination. Nijisanji EN has terminated its contract with Twisty Amanozako due to confirmed instances of discriminatory speech, which is in direct violation of our contract terms and is not tolerated in our community. We appreciate your continued support as we grow together, and we remain committed to fostering a community built on mutual respect, creativity, and accountability. Thank you for your understanding. That is rich coming from Nijisanji. But to be fair, guys, the mental gymnastics that they had to do to make this statement, because we all know what's still going on. We all know that the quote-unquote investigation into Aster Arcadia is still quote-unquote ongoing, allegedly. But essentially, it's very interesting how Niji took this approach. We all knew that Twisty was likely going to be let go, but the fact that they twisted it into her doing the discriminatory speech and it has nothing to do with the Aster Arcadia allegations. Interesting PR gymnastics that we have here. Okay, so let's take a look at what some of the people on this Reddit got to say. Aaron says, while her actions these past few months made it clear she should go too, if Aster isn't fired as well, then this is just Niji being Niji. The Prince says, Twisty gone, but Aster not getting fired. Niji management waiting patiently for his ingredients to harvest for that postponed cooking stream. Boralia says, discriminatory speech. Since when has that ever been a problem for Niji? Right, exactly. This is not the first time Niji talents have been discriminatory in their speech, but for some reason, this is the thing that they're definitely nitpicking here. Upside Down Engineer says, while what Twisty said should never be brushed off or dismissed lightly, the fact that they only terminated her and not Aster is incredibly awkward. Bat God says she wanted to leave. Her own issues, I think, are justifiable enough to let her go, but the big elephant in the room needs to be addressed ASAP. I think Aster is guilty of what is being alleged, so I hope Niji terminates him, but we will see. Sidorio says, good, now fire the spicy pest next. Beagle Master says, those worthless pieces of garbage are going to pretend it's because of the leaked audio and bury everything about Aster. He is going to get away with everything now that they finally got rid of the only victim to speak out publicly. DGen Cross says, so if you report harassment at Niji, it'll just be ignored until it blows up publicly. Then you get slapped with an indefinite suspension while they take their sweet time finding a reason to fire you. Yep, definitely the kind of safe space that'll inspire others to speak up about any issues they might be facing at this company. Uzume says, not impressed, Nijisanji, not impressed unless you terminate Aster Arcadia. Wobble says, you know how Twisty said that Aster tries to spicy harass all the girls that debuted after him? Kind of interesting that almost all the girls in the waves after Alunia left. Shiki says, gotta love how they went with hate speech when Yuki is still around and has been doing it for ages. And of course, leave it to Niji to low-key promote the shitty behavior by showing that you seemingly can skip the graduation queue by being a bigot. Though it's obvious that they used it as an excuse, still too dumb to see how this looks when the spicy pest situation isn't addressed at all. All Pickle says, but management in towns openly bullying an ex-employee is tolerated in their community. Mutual respect. Laughing my ass off. What a bunch of hypocrites. Also, at 4 p.m. on Saturday, Japan, laughing my ass off. Roy says, laugh my ass off. Finally, a notice, and they pin it on their past remarks without mentioning Aster. Dilithium says, that's what they went with. Stares at Yuki. Okay says, already seeing the comments, and I'm seeing Niji fans, of all people, say that Aster should be next. Even the fans want this guy out after that audio leak. Let's see what some of the people are replying on the actual X account here. Akusa says, how about the ARPist? Kazuki says, Yuki Violetta, if you're going to terminate one for discriminatory speech, you need to terminate the other. Simple as. Hemming Bell says, we get that you only care about the talents that make you money, but you could at least have written her an actual termination notice. Nice job spitting on the situation and showing everyone you're not learning anything worth our respect and forgiveness. So many fans want to move on with Nijisanji and keep supporting your talents, but every time you act like this, you make it very clear you are just a company. So don't pretend and write your awful tweets like this that you care about this community. You don't. She says, what about Aster? Are you just going to ignore that until his contract expires too? Squidorable says, Yuki is fine though. So white people are fine to be talked badly about. Gotcha. So obviously people are pretty pissed. People are genuinely pissed about like what's going on here. There's two parallel issues. One is Twisty definitely has said some bad stuff that has been very discriminatory. That has been proven. That is undeniable. Okay. But the parallel issue here is that Twisty was being spicy harassed by a coworker, brought it to management's attention, and instead of management actually dealing with it, they terminated the whistleblower. This is the problem, guys. Niji, as we all know, is a black company, and the fact that they want to parade that they're a safe community is laughable. This is absolutely laughable because it's not true. It's not true, guys. This is not a safe place for you to work. This is not a safe place for you to participate in. This is bad. This is all very, very, very bad, okay? So while Twisty being terminated is actually a blessing, it is also reflective of the type of company that this is. If you have a problem with a coworker who is spicy harassing you, this company will do nothing. What is the point? Okay. What is the point as a talent of making a partnership with this company if they are not even going to protect you the bare minimum? What you are giving your revenue share to this company who is doing nothing for you. Okay. This is the problem. The problem is they need to come down hard on Aster. Something needs to happen. We need to see the results of the investigation. They promised us that they would release it to us. Whether or not is still happening is up in the air, right? So this is the problem. We need action. We as a fan base need to demand action from Nijisanji, okay? So guys, if you're like, oh man, like, you know, like maybe they are getting rid of Aster. Nope, Aster's still here, guys. Aster's still here. This is Aster's X, and here is Aster's YouTube, and the cooking stream we're all still waiting for. Apparently, it'll be live in 31 days. We shall see. There's still people in the chat. There's still people supporting Aster. It's a bit of a head scratcher here. But anyways, guys, long story short, Twisty has been terminated. Aster, we're still waiting on the investigation if Niji will ever release it. Okay, guys, on to our next piece of Newsy News. This is Nijisanji. They are an agency primarily of 2D virtual YouTubers, and Nijisanji is managed by Anycolor. So why are we talking about Nijisanji? Well, guys, Nijisanji is picking fights with lots of people. So this is posted on X, by Dextero, saying every Nijisanji VTuber has been permanently banned from Japan's only, quote, adult doll museum after a heated dispute between Nijisanji's senior staff and the owner. So here's the actual article from Dextero, and it was written by James Bubsy and posted on June 20th. So it says here, VTuber agency Nijisanji has been put on blast by an adult doll museum, with the owner calling the agency a bunch of scumbags and banning them from ever setting foot inside the property ever again. In a scathing blog post written on June 20th, the owner of Japan's one and only adult doll museum, Yashiko Hichokan, has called out Nijisanji after the VTuber agency reportedly turned up uninvited and recorded without permission. The museum owner has also claimed that Nijisanji's staff wrote him disgusting emails, supposedly hounding them for an interview. It's important to note that the adult doll museum is a 2-story house, which Japan photographer Yoshika Hayodo converted to display his collection of plastic lovers. As a result, people who wish to venture into the museum must first book an appointment before they set foot within the property. However, according to Hayodo, no appointment was ever made, and a Nijisanji VTuber showed up unannounced. But one day, Nijisanji chairman and other person suddenly showed up, even though it was not opening day. I was not there that day, so I told them to make a reservation. Hayodo then stated that he had another unauthorized visit from the chairman on May 26, again asking the owner for their interview. As indicated by Automaton, it appears that a Nijisanji affiliated VTuber visited the premises and secretly filmed the museum without getting prior consent. Ours is a private home, wrote Hayodo. If you want to interview someone, there is a code of honor you should follow. They didn't do that, but these trash people who can only be rude to people who are tolerant will never deal with me again. Guys, so yeah, that's kind of nuts. So it says, you scum, you don't come here again, the museum owner said in a blog post. So you can see here, guys, this is what the actual museum looks like. This is a post on June 20th saying, I will not be accepting interviews from Nijisanji in the future. I will cut off all ties with anyone who I cannot speak to on equal footing. Please do not come again. Those people are stupid. The chairman was nice, so I was going to ignore his request, interview him without permission, and let him go when he tried to use it for commercial purposes without permission. But then the guy who called himself the manager started sending me disgusting emails, so I'm cutting him off. I will not accept interviews from Nijisanji in the future. Don't come again. I won't deal with trash like you. I don't want to deal with these annoying people. I'm going to do freelance work. If I respond with kindness, isn't it weird to unilaterally force your annoying logic on me? Do you have a contract that says you have to follow your shitty story? The person inside made the reservation under their real name, and we responded as usual. We responded with a lot of tolerance, so what's the statement? Who do you think you are? Hikoban requires a reservation, and I've made a request. If I want to interview them, I will contact them in advance, but one day, the chairman and another person suddenly showed up, even though it was not an opening day. I was not there that day, so I told them to make a reservation. So on May 26th, the chairman came alone, but there was no prior request for an interview that day either. At this point, there was a problem. Freedom of expression is guaranteed by the Constitution. There's nothing written that violates the law, and it is your freedom to ask for the deletion of a notation that is not problematic from an ethical and moral standpoint. But it's also our freedom to decide how to respond to that. Therefore, we will also exercise our legally recognized freedom to the maximum extent. That's why I'm cutting ties with Niji. You scum, don't come here again. You see, I had a bad feeling when I read the shitty message sent by the shitty manager after the attempted unauthorized interview. So I gently explained to him that we were at war with the police, prosecutors, and broadcasting stations that had shut down many broadcast programs, but he continued to send me rude, shitty messages after that. You know, are you brainless? I didn't get anything other than the 1,000 yen admission fee. To tell the truth, I found out that I was trying to do an unauthorized interview because I searched for the chairman's real name, which I found out at the time of the booking, and I found out that he was a VTuber. So when I pointed that out to him, he finally admitted that he came with the intention of doing an interview. Personal photography is free, but the commercial field, you have to be careful around that. Nijisanji seems to be a lawless organization that doesn't understand that at all. Also, the story about the dolls at Bebu Hikokan was a secret recording. When I told him that story, he hid his smartphone, so I pointed out to him, if you're a VTuber, don't you think you have to film this kind of story? In fact, I clearly noticed his behavior was strange at that point. We are veterans who have dealt with the media from all over the world, you can tell right away. Also, Inabata's story about Saki was also secretly recorded. That's why the sound quality is poor. It wasn't filmed openly, so the sound was amplified later, and there was interviews and opening operations cannot coexist. If we cancel interviews, it'll cause inconvenience to the customers who come. Nijisanji is an unreasonable group that does not understand this. There is no prior confirmation, there was no notification that video was being uploaded. Neither of these are illegal acts, but it is a complete violation of etiquette in the field of interviews in the adult world. They contacted us by email to ask for permission to use video, but they did not report the matter of the secretly recorded audio. The way they did this was underhanded and cowardly, but despite that, they tried to let it all go, and that's not right. If they do that, there will be no next time. After all, there was a bunch of young people who hadn't received proper social education, so I turned a blind eye to it. But I never expected the manager to say something so disgusting. It's typical of Nijisanji to be condescending and rude to someone who was kind to them, even though they were trying to interview without permission. I'm sure the manager is also a young person who has a misconception. He thinks that people who make money are great. What trash. It's troublesome and disgusting, so get out of here. Ours is a private home. If you want to interview someone, there is a code of honor you need to follow. They didn't do any of that at all, but these trash people who can only be rude to people who are tolerant will never deal with me again. Let me list the problems. They suddenly come without a reservation. Even if they make a reservation, they don't apply for an interview. When I pointed it out, it became clear they were doing it for the purposes of interviewing. Hidden recording, use of the voice of a third party who happened to be there without permission, and a condescending and rude attitude from the manager. They should have just interviewed in a proper manner. Also, it is up to us how we respond to the interview. Otherwise, fairness cannot be guaranteed. That is why we interview properly. I thought we could settle the issue on site amicably, but the manager ruined it later. He is the same kind of scum as the guys in the broadcasting station, so I will crush him. So obviously this owner is quite upset. Essentially, it's kind of funny that even outside of like the VTuber realm, Nijisanji is just not a great company to deal with, even IRL. Long story short, Nijisanji is not allowed to step foot in this doll museum for their rude behavior. While the story might be an older one, it just seems to resonate the same thing that we've kind of been talking about for a little bit. They're just a bad company to deal with. So even IRL, they're not really very professional. Okay, guys, on to our next piece of news. This is Dokibird, and Dokibird is an independent English language VTuber originally debuting in May 2020. She retired in May 2021, only to make a return in February 2024. She mainly streams on YouTube. And this is OFFKAI, and OFFKAI is a VTuber convention that just happened on June 20th to June 22nd. That happens at the San Jose Convention Center in San Jose, California. So OFFKAI is specifically a VTuber only convention, and I was actually present there doing some meet and greets at Alara's booth. It was super awesome and like really great and like so much fun to like meet new people, and it was great. It was absolutely great. However, some things about OFFKAI aren't super great. So this is posted on Worst Clipper Ever, and it says here, Doki talks about the stench at OFFKAI. So let's take a listen.
I do hope everyone who did manage to get a meet and greet ticket did have a good time. I always love meeting my dragoons during these meet and greets, and I know some of you guys are like, no, FOMO. But apparently people were saying the smell of the convention. And I saw a tweet from someone that was like, FOMO eliminated. I saw that, yeah. And then I thought it was crazy because there was like deodorant being sold at the convention, and like they were apparently sold out by day 2.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh my god, wait, that's real? I've never been to a convention where like it would smell that bad. But to be fair, I guess it doesn't help that It's really, really hot too during the summer, especially in like it was in San Francisco.
So anyways, guys, so Doki was saying the stench was really bad, and it was so bad that even the OFFKAI staff had to get involved as well. So this is posted on Remy Ricotta's X account saying people are so stinky, they're turning them away from room parties. So this is like a screenshot of Discord where Frisk says, hey, at everyone, OFFKAI party floor staff here. We want to ensure a clean, comfortable environment for all attendees. As such, please be aware you may be denied access to parties on the party floor if not wearing deodorant or practicing good hygiene. Thanks and have a great time. Remember to stay hydrated. I will say this. Definitely when you're at a convention, right? The general rule is shower every day, get 3 meals, get 8 hours of sleep. But the thing is, you can kind of understand people are super excited. People are not really taking care of themselves as much as they normally would because you're in a environment where you're surrounded by like-minded people. Everyone gets really, really excited. And, you know, sometimes things slip. Like even people have dehydration issues. People have exhaustion issues, right? Because you're trying to pack a whole lot in one weekend. However, guys, it's very, very important, not just for yourself, but for others, just to make sure to take care of yourself during this time. Definitely showers every day, definitely wear clean clothes, put on deodorant, and not only are you gonna feel great about yourself, but also it's gonna help everyone around you, right? I understand that during this time, you're just so hyped to be there that some of these things kind of slip your mind, but self-care is also very important, especially in a hot climate. Sweat is gonna happen. So guys, anytime you go to a convention, please make sure to practice proper hygiene and stay hydrated and stay safe. So yeah, anyways, guys, apparently it was very stinky at OFFKAI, but if you've gone to anime conventions before, that onion smell is kind of the norm. But yeah, if you are at an anime convention, please make sure to take care of your personal hygiene needs. Okay, guys, on to our next piece of Newsy news. This is Suika, and Suika is an artist and live 2D rigger. Suika, who made this very customizable model, which is an amazing feat for the VTuber community, because as you all know, VTuber models are very, very costly. So Suika was able to do this to kind of help the community out and make things a little bit more customizable there. So this is where you'll know Suika from. So Suika, if you remember, there was some pushback when Suika had released a customizable model, as there wasn't enough POC options. However, that has been updated. So this is posted on Sukia's X account as of June 21st. And Suika says, Black VTubers, could I please get your opinion on this? I'm unsure if the scalp and roots are drawn correctly. I've been staring at it for hours and I'm not sure if something feels off or I'm overthinking. I've also been experimenting with adding additional layers to the face. I like the glow. It gives the face a little bit more depth, but I don't know if it's too much. Is a simple third image better? I am slow with the updates and the customizable model. I am sorry, frowny face. So you can see here, so Suika is working on a POC. So if you are a POC VTuber, definitely go engage with this post as she needs your help to really bring it to life a lot better. And Suika says, I got a lot of good suggestions. Thank you so much. I'm going to cook up some more and post another update on the hairstyle soon. So Suika has heard the call for POC VTubers, so that is great. So if you want to engage in this post and give some feedback, Suika is more than open to the feedback. And so far, looking really cute. Okay, guys, on to our next piece of newsy news. This is VALLURE, and VALLURE is an English language VTuber agency. It claims to be the first English VTuber, LuTuber agency. VALLURE has a spicier take on content creation. So why are we talking about VALLURE? Well, guys, VALLURE's Gen 2 is coming out. So this is posted on VALLURE's X account on June 21st. And VALLURE says, our Gen 2 Forbidden Girls can't wait for you to come to their debuts on July 1st. So definitely make sure to mark that on your calendar. Let's take a look at what this trailer looks like. Oh my goodness.
Delivering you from or into temptation.
Okay, this is Ophelia Inrose.
A little rebellion never hurt.
Okay, this is Will Wildfire.
Thinking of how you can thank me?
This is Cynthia Sanguine.
You're under a breath.
This is Saru Foxhound.
Serving as always, master.
This is Mara of Vespidade.
Don't get too close. I bite.
And this is Quizaro Soul Scale. Watch out for VALLURE's Gen 2 debut. July 1st, 2025, 2 p.m. EST, and the website, YouTube, and Twitter. was a really good trailer. You can see here, these are the girls. So this is Willow Wildfire, Kizu Soul Scale, Mara Vespiade, Phyla Enrose, Cynthia Sanguine, and Saru Foxhound. So guys, make sure if you are a fan of VTubers and spicy content to mark down on your calendar July 1st when VALLURE releases their Gen 2 girls. Okay guys, on to our next piece of Newsy news. This is Mint FANTOME. And Mint FANTOME, also known as Made Mint, is an independent female English Japanese speaking virtual YouTuber that debuted July 2020. After retiring April 2021, she made a surprise return in April 2024. So why are we talking about Mint? Well guys, Mint was also at OFFKAI in a big way. So this is posted on Fantastic Reality's X account saying, on that day, humanity received a grim reminder. So let's take a look. It says attack on Minto. So you can see she is being risen up. She's as big as a tree. Oh my goodness, that is absolutely epic. Look how big Mint is. Oh my goodness. So anyways, that was pretty amazing. And Fantastic Reality says, come see Mint and many more incredible VTubers with a live band at Fantastic Reality on July 3rd in Los Angeles. So anyways, guys, this is just something really cool and such a grand scale. And it's really amazing when like VTuber fans can come together to do amazing things like this. So that is a big Mint. On to our next piece of news. This is Bae, and Bae is a female English-speaking virtual YouTuber associated with Hololive. She debuted in 2021 as part of Hololive English's Council, the second generation of members of Hololive English. And this is Hololive English's third concert, All for One. And this is a 2-day concert happening on August 23rd, 2025. And August 24th, 2025, and this is happening at the Radio City Music Hall. So why are we talking about Bae and the All for One concert? Well, guys, this is posted on the Kurosanchi subreddit posted by Twilight, and it says, Bae discovered that her fans, brats, in Discord doing mass bios and then reselling the Halloween concert. She is disappointed. Can you blame her? I certainly don't. So this is a clip of Bae, so let's take a listen.
Reporting from the Brats War Room. Today, the Brats achieve overwhelming victory against Scalpers. We have secured enough tickets to make sure that all our Brats can watch you live. Thanks for rallying us to fight. Oh! Congratulations. I'm so proud. Team effort, team effort. Hmm? Oh. Okay. I'm just gonna say, it's good to be excited, but please remember to be kind and remember to always think of others. I'm just gonna say it like that. And I haven't seen anything because I was streaming 3 times yesterday, but that's not really an excuse. So without information, that's all I'm gonna say. Please remember to be kind. And just be wary of how your actions may affect and reflect other people. And just be wary of how your actions may affect and reflect other people. Be respectful. That's all I ask. But thank you! Sorry, I'm scrolling. No, I'm not doom scrolling. I'm just... If I'm being completely honest, the comment that was made earlier that was brought to my attention is kind of bothering me. I just wanted to make sure that I am informed. Because, you know, I'm very proud of my fan base for being kind and respectful, and I don't want... You know, but I also believe, you know, even if there's no ill intent, I know that, you know, it was because, you know, you guys want to support, but I feel like it's important to make things clear when, you know, there is a problem or something that I see that I'm not too big of a fan of. If it's worked out, that's great. That's all I can ask for, but I do ask because, you know, I always want my fans, you know, to be as kind and respectful. And that's why, you know, I am really proud of you guys as, you know, a content, as a creator, you guys have always been so kind and respectful to other, you know, people and new fans. And I only ask that you continue, because it's not only a reflection of you guys, but also stuff, if things get out of hand, it can affect relationships with, you know, not only other fan bases, but also, you know, if it gets to a very extreme level, it can even affect certain relationships between different talents. So I just make sure, you know, the way that you phrase things. Sometimes if it's just, you know, like a slip of the tongue, or you weren't thinking, I just ask if you could just be a little bit more mindful. That'd be great. I do hope that it was worked out. You know, if a mistake was made, just a proper apology goes a long way. That's all I ask. Just be mindful, please. But I think it's important that, you know, because I care really deeply about you guys, I also think it's important that sometimes what am I trying to say? When things I see that bother me, I feel like it's only fair that I bring it up, because I know if I did something that maybe bothered you guys a little bit, you would also bring it up to me. Accountability, that's the word, yeah. But just please be respectful. That's all I ask.
Okay, so essentially that was Bei's reaction in regards to her fans doing mass buyouts and reselling at the EN concert. So let's see what some people on Reddit gotta say. Totally Not Zach says, Holo PR classes must be really good. If that was me, I would go on a 10-minute rant on Discord users and their mothers, publicly shame them, and then outcast them from the community for not having common sense. Hot Dog Man says, it's a freaking mess, man. The server has been quiet ever since they banned anyone who brings it up. Witchy Water says, imagine your Oshi legit scolding you for trying to be supportive. They should be embarrassed. They always say to behave when you wear their Oshi mark. When you wear it, you represent them. And this server utterly humiliated Bei with their behavior. Fishman says, someone pointed out something on the earlier screenshots. We beat them last time, as in breaking dimensions, i.e. they did this before. The OP says, what I want to say about the situation, I'm honestly disappointed like Bei. Like, it's one thing if a fellow fan is disappointed, but it hits more if your Oshi herself is disappointed. I won't state what she said in a members only post, but I will say she was disappointed. I can tell Bei was heartbroken by her own fan base would do this. Would you not be disappointed at least if your fan base did this to you? Anyway, I can tell Bei is holding back here a lot when it comes to the public space. If she wanted, she would have gone nuclear, and I wouldn't have blamed her if she did, but she chose to be nice and held back a lot, which is nice of Bei, but some people needed a wake-up call. Penny says, didn't they release a statement trying to justify this? I wonder what they will say now. A Never Pre-Order says, they're not even sorry. They're so smug that they're just sending super chats to brag about it. They're hoarders and gatekeepers, the lot of them. Important Year says, these a-holes are just as worse as your everyday Niji sister. I mean, really? Tribalism against people in the same circle? Are they stupid to aggro all the graduated fan bases? Aunties will use this to attack Bei, I assure you. So this post has been locked in the Hololive subreddit. So there are tickets available if you go to Ticketmaster, but obviously they're not priced like how they were at face value. So just be aware of that if you are wanting to go to this concert. Okay, guys, on to our next piece of Newsy news. This is RAORA Panthera, and RAORA is a female English-speaking virtual YouTuber associated with Hololive. She debuted in June 2024 as part of Hololive's fourth generation Justice. So why are we talking about RAORA? Well, guys, RAORA got a kind of interesting hobby. So this is posted on the Nijisanji subreddit, posted by Last Power, and it says, today I learned that RAORA was a member of Linkin Park. So you can see here, this is like a Google search, and you can see here, there's Chester, RAORA, of course, Mike, Rob, Joe, Colin, Alex, Dave, Scott, and Brad. So RAORA is obviously not a part of Linkin Park, but for some reason the AI has deemed it so. This is the source here. Aries says, today I learned that RAORA was part of Linkin Park. Hashtag Chow RAORA. And RAORA says, yay me! It's all making sense now. Oh my goodness, guys. So let's see what some of the people on Reddit gotta say. Zonko says, it's real. I was there in concert, though she wasn't a lead, but a rather chorus member. Adara says, she tried out after getting rejected from Panthera for being too confusing name-wise. Harem says, bruh. This internet says, I what? Yamate says, I thought she was a Pantera member. Didn't know she was in Limp Bizkit Q. Jade Dio says, she came up from the bottom. So anyways, guys, she's become so numb by putting pineapple on pizza. I'm just kidding. Anyways, guys, RAORA is not obviously a part of Linkin Park, but I just thought that was kind of funny. Okay, guys, and that's it. That's the end of the VTuber Newsy News. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And guys, if you're like, man, Lydia, I can't catch you during your Twitch streams, no problem, guys. I have it all here on the Lydia VTuber VODs. I play through all your favorites, and I just finished Chrono Trigger. So if you want to see what that looks like, please make sure to head over to this YouTube channel. Okay, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Mwah! Bye-bye. Kozawa. And I'd like to formally apologize on behalf of all the British people in chat. I do a terrible British accent. I'm sorry about that. Terribly sorry about that, mate. I try to do accents, but they don't always come out right. So, I would just like to say, gomenasai, arigatou gozaimasu. All right, back to the beach. Okay, perfect. Okay, excellent. That worked out. Okay, there we go. That worked out.